All right, let's get started. Got I think is a good topic for those people that find the topic relevant. I'm sure you'll find it interesting as well. Certainly hope so. So from inbound to outbound, that's the name of the game. And by the way, here it's 8 a.m. I've got my tea. It's still hot. It's 8 a.m. I'm in Cambodia. I'm from Australia, and I've been living in Asia for many years. And my sons live in Asia as well, which is great. So it's kind of a family thing. And although I have to say that I do miss Australia and look forward to returning in the not too distant future. However, it's a very different life over here, that's for sure. But it has its attractions. I'll give it that. Okay, let me just get the slideshow working here. That's me. I don't quite look like that now, but anyway. And then, yeah, what you're talking about, Willis, people say that to me all the time. These were people who were fans of the show called, can't think of it now, but anyway, the guy there is Arnold. He was the character. Different Strokes, that's right, Different Strokes. And his brother's name was Willis, and he was always saying to his brother, what you talk about, Willis? So I now have people all over the world that are familiar with that show that say the same thing to me. What you talk about, Willis? Anyway, bit of nonsense. All right. Now, by the way, if you've got any questions, just type them in there. I probably won't stop until I finish, right? So that should be in about 40 minutes, 45 minutes, something like that. All right, a little bit about me, just very small. The last one I did, I gave the full version. But this is just a very, very small overview. Yeah, I started online in 2006 and as an affiliate marketer. I didn't have my own offer or anything that I could call my own to promote. So I figured, well, why not promote someone else's offer? So I dug around, found something that looked interesting. It was a high ticket offer in the kind of the financial services space. And I started promoting that in October 2006. Had no idea how to generate leads online, anything like that. Fortunately, I had a mentor that came. It was a $10,000 buy-in, so they included a mentor, and she was really good. And she lived not far from me because I was in Brisbane at that time, and Brisbane, Australia, and she lived in an area called the Sunshine Coast, and she became not only a mentor but a very good friend, and we still keep in touch. And she was the one that was kind of the catalyst and for my future success. And so she taught me quickly how to generate leads. This was at that time it was about using advertising, paid advertising. It was Google Ads. Okay. I didn't know anything about organic strategies, social media, none of it. I knew nothing about any of those things. I was quite ignorant. But she taught me about Google AdWords, and sure enough, she helped me set up an account and the first campaign. And within 24 hours, I got some leads, some inbound leads, and yeah. That was the beginning of my journey. It was a big relief for me to know that, that people are actually interested in this topic, because I wasn't sure. It was kind of a leap of faith on my part. But so yeah, and then the next step, it's a bit different. We do things differently now, but the next step, because when they opted in, they were required to include their phone number. And so my role was to phone the leads. That's definitely an offline type of activity, but that was the way we did it. The leads were generated online, and the conversions, if you like, happened offline via the phone. Only problem was that I was terrified of using the phone in this way, absolutely terrified, and that is why for the first couple of weeks I totally bombed, and I just wasted a lot of leads, right? And anyway, they were using like a script system, read the script like a monkey. And at the end of it, I said to my mentor, look, I can't do this. I like just to have conversations with people. So that's what I prefer to do. And that was the turning point. And then a couple of weeks later, I'd about $9,000 was dropped into my my bank account. So, and the next month was much bigger, and yeah, it's been a good journey. But then, so I stayed in the affiliate marketing arena for many years. But I think it was around 2012, 2013, I decided to develop my own offers, my own products. So I developed a little course, not an expensive course, certainly well under $100. I think it was under $50 actually. And, started to sell a few of those courses. People bought them. Wow, someone bought my own product. That's great. And then from there, coaching programs, done for you services, and so on. And that's where I am today. I don't do any affiliate marketing now. So okay, that's the really short version. Now today, I'm going to cover some of these topics. I'm going to cover them in like 1 minute, right? I'm not going into any depth with some of these topics because we just don't have the time. But it'll give you a bit of an insight. But one or two of the other topics, I will go deeper on those. So 2 different types of messages, but only one produces quick cash flow. Whoa, what's that? How to virtually eliminate negative pushback from your messages. We're talking here about LinkedIn in the main, but also Facebook. This works just as well on Facebook because I started using Facebook properly in 2016, and once again in the first month I not only generated leads, but I made a few small sales, nothing big, but a few small sales, and it validated my belief that there is a way to make money on social media. Before then I was very hesitant. I didn't feel comfortable with the idea of social media, but I had to break through because it was clearly the way of the future. So that's what happened on Facebook. And then 2021, I decided to, this was during the COVID period, Facebook had kind of deteriorated, I thought. So I decided to move across to LinkedIn, and very glad I did. Why focusing more on pain than problems and solutions is better. Why relying on content alone to produce inbound leads fails for 97% of newbies. An alternative messaging strategy for connections who are not active on the platform. It works. I got 3 of my first 6 clients from this method. Okay, because that's the problem. We're talking about LinkedIn. People are not as active on LinkedIn in general, I would say, compared to a platform like Facebook. So there is a percentage who are active, and they log in every day. Great. But they're not the majority. They're definitely the minority. So if we've got some people that aren't really active, how are we going to get our message to them? All right, so I'll talk about that very, very briefly. Potent low-risk ways of getting people to interact with you. It's called the true engagement, and is the key to success on social platforms. And the longer I work in the social media arena, the more convinced I am that this is the name of the game. It's engagement. It's engagement. All the other blather and nonsense that people go on with is kind of secondary, or it's just not that important. The name of the game is engagement. If you get the engagement thing working properly, that is engagement on your posts and engagement on in the DMs, sending messages and so on, the rest of it just falls into place from there. If you can't get the engagement happening, well, how are you going to build relationships unless people are interacting with you? You can't. And without relationships, how are you going to do business? So that's basically what I'm talking about here. And then the final one, which is fast becoming one of my favorite topics, is called Cash Cow, how to create weekly cash from your gateway offer. And without doing sales calls, you can do your business in the DMs, but you'll need a great offer, as I say there. All right. So let's move on. And who is this for? Well, I mainly work with sort of the expert class, if I can call it that. So coaches, consultants, creatives, and experts. That's a catch-all. But they're people that have got some expertise. They're selling services more than they're selling products. They may be selling productized services, but it's more often than not it's just straight up service. Above all, you want to build a pipeline, a constant flow of people who have an interest in your topic. You have a clear point of view and want to take your message to more people. This is actually quite an important point. You've got to have a point of view. because otherwise, if you don't have a point of view, it's very hard to separate yourself from everybody else, and you'll come across as bland. So it's just a little tip there. Think about it. You have a certain sense of urgency to get things done. Yeah, you want it to happen like now or yesterday. All right, two different types of messages, but only one produces quick cash flow. Now, I can answer this really fast. I might embellish slightly, but essentially, what are we saying here? Two types of messages, but only one produces cash flow. So we're talking about outbound messages. I will also talk about the role of content. I will talk about that because it plays a very important part, no doubt about it. We can't avoid it. But we're talking about messaging, reaching out to people. So, but only one produces quick cash flow. What is it? Okay, well, let's have a look. It's networking type messaging and sales type messaging. And when I say sales, I don't mean being salesy. I don't mean being hypey or anything like that at all. But we have an objective. We'd like to do some business with people. So the question is, how are we going to do that without alienating people? That's another, question to be considered. But if you look at the first one there, networking. Now, a lot of people do this. They network. They don't talk about, there's no offers made, there's no pitches, there's nothing. They're just networking. Hey, how you doing there? What's happening in your world? And here's what's happening in mine and all this. This is fine. The only problem is that it can tend to be very prolonged, and you may get a client at the end of it, but it could take 6 months. Whereas the second message has more of a commercial focus, and you can do things. You can get the results quite quickly. And this is the method that I use to get my first 6 clients on LinkedIn with my first campaign in 2021. It was only 3 months after I started using the platform properly. Okay, so it only took 3 months to get clear on what needed to happen. And it was number 2. That was the one that I focused on. All right. And it's now, my answer here is both. All right. So that might sound as a bit of a contradiction. But the reality is that most of the business came from number 2. But number 1, there is still a role for it because there are some very interesting people on LinkedIn, and you may have some of them in your connection list. And maybe it's more appropriate for them just to think of, in terms of collaboration, partnership, joint promotions in the future, things like that, right? I've done this. I've done a bit of this where I've collaborated with somebody, and it started out on a networking basis. All right, I didn't have any thoughts of them doing business with me. They weren't really my ideal client, but they had influence themselves. They had a network. So that's more of the networking type of outreach. Okay, so there's 2 types. But if you want to bring home the bacon and you want to bring it home within a month or so, or 2 months, let's say 1 to 2 months, I'd suggest that number 2 is the way to go. And this assumes that you're targeting people that you're targeting smaller businesses, etc. If you're targeting big corporates, that's a different ball game altogether. And because of that, it tends to have a long lead time. It's slower, all right? And that could be 6 months. In some instances, I know people where they didn't score a deal for more than a year, from one client. So I'm talking about more the mid-range there, the small to mid, not the large, okay? Or other people that I've helped they're targeting individuals within corporations. For instance, they might be an executive coach, something like that, okay? But once again, they're talking to an individual. They're targeting one entity, one person. Doesn't have all the complication of dealing with committees and so on. It's one person who will be making the decision. So it works. Now, how to virtually eliminate negative pushback from your messages? All right. Well, match message with market. All right. So that means that your content is on point, your content. And then if you are sending a direct message to somebody, it's on point as well. In other words, it's hugely relevant to the person, to the recipient. Now, the other thing is that we need to make it personal. We need to make it personal. That doesn't mean to say that non-personal messages don't work. They do work if the message is highly relevant. But you'll get a better success rate if you also personalize it a bit. And I'm going to give you an example of this very soon. All right, you'll get a better result. But just to balance things, those first 6 sales of clients that I got in 2021 for that first mini campaign, it wasn't personalized, but it was highly relevant. Okay, so there was no personalized information other than the person's name. Hello, John. Or hello, Mary. But the body copy was not personalized. So I got sales from it, but the response rates were lower, more like about 15%, right? 10, 15, 16%, something like that. Whereas when we personalize our messages, the response rate goes up, usually doubles and maybe more than that. With my last outreach campaign, we got 37%. And so that's 37%. That's better than 1 in 3 people responded and said, yes, I'm interested in this. Tell me more. Okay, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Compare that to cold email. Be lucky to get 1% response rate. All right. Now, I'll give you a few examples here. Connection message, just if you may not be using connection messages when you're wanting to send a connection request, but I normally do. So this is personalized. I see we have, hi John, I see we have X number of friends, so that's personalized, isn't it? Because you've looked at their profile and said, oh, they've got 2,500 friends or connections, or connections in common. There are lots of good people in that group, including, and then normally I just mention 1 or 2 names that I'm familiar with. These are the connections in common. And then I just say, okay to connect. Now, how easy is that? It's quick, it works, and you get a higher success rate when you use it. Here's another one. Hi, Mary. I saw your recent comment. Okay, this is where it's really personalized. You're referring back to something that was said on someone's posts. So I saw your comment your recent comment on Arthur Colin Hunt's post. You seem to be doing interesting things, so let's connect. So it's only a very little bit of personalization, but still good enough to resonate with the recipient. All right. Now, the next step we've got is welcome messages. So here's an example. So in other words, after they've accepted your connection request, we might say something like, thanks for connecting. I love your comment, your content and consistency. Have you been on any podcasts talking about this topic? Now, I'm not a podcaster, right? I have done it in the past, but I'm not promoting podcasting. I don't do that. But sometimes if I see something interesting, see a profile that's interesting, I think this person, I bet they've got a great story. They should be doing some podcasting. They should be guesting on other people's podcasts. So I'm just going to be helpful and suggest it. So then I just say, have you been on a podcast talking about their topic, whatever it is? It'd make for a good episode, just a thought. And by the way, I'm not a podcaster. You can see it there. See? So this is, once again, this is personalized and it's kind of interesting and relevant to the recipient. So that will help to get a higher response rate because, as I said at the beginning, it's engagement, folks. If we can't get the engagement happening, we're toast. End of game. So we've got to use also, and I have a myriad of ways to do it, and obviously I can't cover them today. But if we can't get the engagement happening, well, it's going to be nigh on impossible to do business on a platform like LinkedIn. So we've got that. It's number one. It really is number one. From engagement come strengthened relationships, friendships, communities. This is the way we do things with social media. Here's another welcome message. This is where we're like, okay, let's say you've met somebody in another online forum or offline at a business meetup or something like that, Chamber of Commerce, whatever. I believe that it's a great thing to do is to strengthen the relationship, always looking at ways to strengthen the relationship. So if you meet people in the offline world or on other online forums, bring them across to LinkedIn. Bring them across to LinkedIn. Assuming your content is good, it's got to be good. Your content has to be good. and your profile is good, your profile's been sorted out, assuming that is all working in your favor, LinkedIn will serve a very useful purpose, and it will help to strengthen the relationship. It gives them another view of you. They get to see the other side of you, another side of you perhaps, all right? And by the way, this can work in reverse as well. You meet people on LinkedIn, you connect with them, you meet with them. Why not see if you can, take them off of LinkedIn, right? So if you're in the local area, maybe you could meet up for a coffee. Maybe you could invite them to a networking event. Or if you're involved with online networking events, as I am, you could invite them to an online networking event. Doesn't matter where they are. They could be in, I don't know. There's a saying in Australia called back of Bourke. Bourke is a town in the outback of New South Wales. If someone is at the back of Bourke, they're far away from what we might call civilization. Anyway, let me drink this. Okay, so let's have a look at this one. Making new friends, this is what we say. Making new friends as an adult can be awkward, but here goes. You're interesting and I'd like to know you better. Want to have a virtual coffee later. Something as simple as that. So that would be a networking call, not a sales call, okay? Just opening relationships, strengthening them, and so on. And so it's not going to pay off in all probability in the near term, but medium term, these things can work out really good. Now, let's look at pitching. I hate that word, but what else could we say? A sales or a marketing-oriented message. All right. Anyway, hey, John, I'm not sure how many videos you get. Okay, this is for a video message. Some people love to do videos. Okay, do it. I'm not always convinced that they're as effective as text. But anyway, if you love videos, do this. I'm not sure how many videos you get here, but I wanted to reach out and say hello and introduce myself. Notice that you... blah, 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 this is what they do. And I enjoyed reading your, post on blah, blah, blah. Then and then you talk about ads. So this is definitely a kind of a pitch message. It's not too aggressive, but it's definitely purposeful, let's put it that way. At XYZ or XYZ company, we address these pain points, and this is how we solve them. You're probably going to, and you can see what it says there, you're probably going to say, I've got this covered, but if not, let's continue the conversation. All right, so that's just straight up front, no beating about the bush. And, okay, you've got to do more numbers with this one, but but it does work. It does work, okay. All right, here's another one. Now, this one is also very customized, and we're using data here. So we might call this the data pitch. And this one is the one that produces a 37% response rate for me. You've got 7,586 followers on LinkedIn. At least 48 are relevant and would benefit from your executive coaching services. I also see at least 12 referral partner opportunities. There's no need to constantly look for new people. Your existing connections are a potential gold mine. There's a new way to secure these opportunities. Can I share more? It's low-key. It's effective. My head's getting hot. So it's starting to warm up here in Cambodia. So I take off my hat, don't I? That one works very well. Now, how do you take use a data-heavy approach like this and adapt it for your business? Because your business is different to mine. Well, there's usually a way. It's just a matter of thinking laterally, thinking outside of the square, being a little bit creative, and you come up with something that's highly relevant, because people love data. They love data. So, for instance, let's say that previous example, you targeting executive coaches. All right, not executive coaches, you're targeting executives in organizations. You're an executive coach. Okay, so you could do some research. And you're looking for information or data that demonstrates that that really kind of gives people an idea as to what ails them. What are the big frustrations that executives are facing in this crazy era that we're living in? What are the key frustrations? Is it that they feel that they've reached the glass ceiling, they can never be the CEO, they'll always be you know, an underling. What are the frustrations? What are the concerns? And then what I would do is I would package it up into a message, include the data, mention the data, highlight the data, and then offer some kind of a way forward, right? A solution, because pain is the big motivator. And if they can identify with some of those data points and they're saying, that's me, that's me, that's me, all right, and then you're saying, I might be able to help you with this, I have some ideas I'd love to share. It's not aggressive, there's not links, you're not sharing links or anything like that. You do something like that, chances are, well, you know, you'll get a good response. I'm not saying it's going to be 80%, but you'll get a good response. It should be between 20 and maybe even 40%, depending on the targeting and so on. All right, so that's a good one. Now, well, I've already told you, this previous message produced an average 37% response rate. Other types of messages, well, response to requests for your lead magnet. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. A great results message. You've had this result, or you've helped somebody achieve this result, and you're sharing it, but you're doing it in a way that's, well, you're not bragging, okay? You've got to be careful with this. Words are very important. You select the right word. Conversion messages after they've requested your lead magnet. So let's say you promoted your lead magnet, you had a lead magnet, like a free report or a free video or something like that, cheat sheet, and you promoted on your news feed, and they've said, yeah, I'm interested in this. They made a comment because you told them to make a comment and type the word D-O-C, document. Okay, so that means that they're interested in this topic, which is a good indication that they have, they identify with the pain that the topic mentions, right? So then what we do is that we need to send them a message to give them the link for the document. So conversion messages, all right? Warm invite to a call type of message, that's another one. But I generally wouldn't do that straight away unless it was a networking type call. But if it was more of a sales-oriented call, I wouldn't do that straight away. We don't want to alienate people. And then another type of message is a rekindling message. This is some people find that they don't get any response. They send a message and people don't reply. Well, they don't reply today, but they may reply in a month. They may reply in 2 weeks, something like that. So rekindling messages, even after 3 months or something like that. In fact, I had someone do business with me last week, and this is a lady in Australia, in one of the southern states, Victoria, and she did business with me last week, all right? And that was as a result of a rekindling message, because I hadn't spoken to her. I hadn't sent a message to her for, more than a year, right? So that's why I say there's gold. You've got gold in your existing, unless you're very new to LinkedIn or Facebook, but if you've got anything more than 500 to 1,000 connections, can't tell me that there's not clients in there, potential clients, okay? There definitely would be leads, I'd imagine, providing they're more or less, in tune with your current business ethos, that they're a match, there's some kind of a match, but you don't need that many. You only need 10 or 20, and you should be able to do business with one of them, all right? So a rekindling message, think about that. Don't give up on it. Come back, go back and send them another message, but don't do it tomorrow. Don't do it next week. Just let it, because maybe they were really busy at that time and they missed it. Who knows why they don't reply? It's not just because they're, antisocial or ignorant or anything like that. There could be a perfectly rational reason. All right, next one. Why focusing more on pain? Just let me check the time here. Okay, we're traveling well. Why focusing more on pain than problems and solutions is better? Why focusing more on pain than problems is better? Good question, isn't it? Well, pain is a great motivator, and a good percentage of a typical audience will be experiencing some kind of a pain, and it may be that pain may be relevant for your business because that's the sort of problem that you can solve. Okay. I think too many people, even with their LinkedIn posts, their social media posts, they talk too much about themselves. They talk too much about solutions. In other words, they're always talking about their product. or their service. It just makes no sense to me, because the vast majority of people are not ready for a solution yet. They're just dealing with this problem and this pain that they're experiencing. They're not completely sure what the problem is quite often. They may have a superficial understanding, but what I found is that quite often there's a problem behind the problem, and we have to find what that, we have to, discover what that problem is. It's not always clear, certainly not clear to our prospective clients. Just hang on. Okay, so pain is a good motivator. You think of insurance companies, they build empires all over the world, and it's based on pain, fear of loss. The bad thing hasn't happened yet, but I better get my insurance up to date just in case it does, right? Motor vehicle, household insurance, building insurance. Then we've got disability insurance, sickness insurance, life insurance, of course, and retirement planning, superannuation, all this kind of stuff, right? Retirement plans. It's all about fear, isn't it? It's all about pain, or, even though the bad thing is not happening to them, if we can make them bring the pain to life, they start to feel uncomfortable and they think, I better do something about that. You're doing people a public service, I believe. So, but pain is a great motivator. Let's be absolutely candid about that. So remind them of it through your posts and direct messages, but do it in a way that doesn't cause any great offence. All right, you're wanting people to sort of be nodding their head and say, "Oh, it's like he's talking directly to me," right? If that's the kind of response that your messaging, your content invokes in people, very good. You're on the right path. Why relying on content alone to produce inbound leads fails for 97% of newbies? Well, it's too passive. It's too passive, especially in the early stages when we haven't mastered the content game, and honestly, few people have. Only a few will see it in their news feeds. There's that practical aspect. I mean, my content, I would say, and this is not bragging, it's just people tell me all the time, my content is definitely above average, probably well above average, okay? But even so, in my first year, I didn't get one inbound lead from my content. That's why I switched after a couple of months to direct messaging, and that's what produced the result. However, my content, okay, it's not as good as it is today. This is back in 2021. But my content was still relevant. It was a source of truth. It helped to build my authority. Okay, so if I reached out to somebody, they go and check my content. They go and check my profile. Okay, and they see the content. I had some other customers, other people do business with me this week, and I know for a fact that all of them checked my content before they handed over some money. Okay, so the content is still important, even if it's not producing inbound leads. But now, of course, I do get inbound leads, and I'm going to be talking to you one of the great ways that I do that in a minute or two. So only a few will see it in their newsfeed. So that's a really practical consideration, and a very small percentage of people will see it in their newsfeeds if you're not getting any engagement. If you get engagement, in other words, comments in the main, LinkedIn will boost your content and put it in front of more eyeballs. But if few, if any, people are commenting, well, your content is going to be unloved, unseen, gone forever. Okay. If your content is typical, it'll be low impact and not likely to grab attention anyway. Look, there's a whole class on this that, I can't do it today, but how to move your content from being bland and lacking impact to one that is highly relevant and highly impactful. That requires a full workshop to get you to that point where you're very competent with content and you're creating high impact content. But I'm just alerting you to some of the issues here. Okay, does it mean you've got to put in some work to learn this stuff? Of course. It's we're on a learning journey. We're on a lifetime learning journey. That's just the way it is. I'm still learning, right? Another reason is you don't have a lead magnet. That may be a reason. It's amazing how many people do not have lead magnets, because a lead magnet is a fantastic way to identify your people, people that resonate with the offer or the topic of your lead magnet. It's a great way to do that. And, you know, you want people to put up their hand and say, hey, I'm interested in this topic. Because chances are, if they do put up their hand and say yes, chances are they are experiencing the pain that your document, that your little report is helping to solve, right? So this pain is the big deal, folks. It's the big deal. Anyway, you don't know how to, let's see if I can move. I've got a little thing that's obscuring my view. I can't actually read it. You don't know how to write. You don't know how to write a lead generation post. There's different types of content avatars. I've got a list of 9 of them that I've developed over many years. And one of them is a lead generating post. Okay. So if we can learn, and it's a specific way of structuring a piece of content, so it makes it more likely that people are going to respond in the comments and say, yes, I'm interested in that, tell me more, kind of thing, right? So, but most people don't know how to write a lead generating post, right? Even if they're good at writing normal garden variety pieces of content, they don't know how to do this one. And to me, if you don't have this skill, well, it's just going to be harder, that's all, and a lot slower. All right, now, how do we fix the problem? Well, upgrade your writing, that's obvious, isn't it? Build an engaged audience. And by the way, you don't have to be a natural at writing. I don't think I was born a great writer or anything like that. In fact, I don't even think I'm a great writer now. I know that there are better people than me on LinkedIn who write better content than me. But even though they might write, and they'd be like the 0.05% group, right? Very small number of percentage of people on LinkedIn who are in that league. But the interesting thing is that some of these people are writing great content. They're not making much money, all right? So I think in many instances I've made more money here and on Facebook previously than most of these great writers have ever made, right? So do I want to get to the point of perfection with my writing? No, I don't want to. It just needs to be at a level of impact that makes people sit up and take notice. That's it. So upgrade your writing, build an engaged audience, myriad of ways of doing that, including replying to comments on your posts, including commenting on a few other people's posts every day, things like that, okay? Develop a lead magnet, right? That will definitely help. Learn how to, providing it's the right one, providing it's impactful. Learn how to write a lead generation post. Okay, so I'm saying upgrade your writing in general, but get down to the specific point here about a lead generation post. We need to perfect that. Okay, and then promote your lead magnet in your posts. So you learn how to write the lead generating post, and then you promote the lead magnet, this little tool that you've got, this free giveaway in your lead generation post. Okay, now I'm going to have to hurry. Now you may not be able to read the writing there. I just could not. It's what we call a long form post, and this, if you can see, well, look at the bottom there. This one generated 115 comments, of which 50 plus were leads. Okay, and what did I do? I'll just read you the first. Now this one is applicable to me. Your type of post would be different, all right? But the structure and the key elements would be more or less the same. So the headline is, if you love cold pitching, spamming groups, and spraying links on your personal page, this post isn't for you. All right, now is that going to, for people who are in pain, right? They're posting content, they're doing all these stupid things and they're not getting any results. Is that going to attract attention? Absolutely, no question about it. So what we've got to do, or what you've got to do, is figure out a way to capture people's attention with pain in a way that's relevant to your niche and to your people, to your target audience. All right, and then I do a mini clinic on just this post alone. It's bigger than this. I've cut it. I had to. It's bigger than this. It's a long form post, which tend to work the best from a lead generation point of view, in my experience anyway. All right, so I'll just give you a little pointer there. This one here, okay, I have been able to, it is a long form post. See the see more button there? Okay. So it leads with why I no longer rely on posting content to get my message seen. All right. So that one is once again appealing to people, struggling marketers, people who are trying to do business on social but failing dismally at it. It doesn't necessarily obviously mention their pain, but if they see that, they're going to think, ooh, what's this about? Right? That's it. So we're just, don't try and please everybody. Just focus on your core group, okay? And then you'll start getting some action. And that one got 126 comments, of which about 60 were leads. 60 from one post. Now, I'm not saying that it's going to be like that all the time because, in truth, it's not. Some of my lead gen LinkedIn posts, which, by the way, I haven't run one for 2 weeks, because I've got leads, right? There's no lead shortage with me. But the last one got about 10, all right? Now, to my way of thinking, that can be good if it's the right 10, if it's the right 10, good quality people, in other words, because from the 10, conversations will ensue, and then we'll identify people that are really keen to solve this problem, and then we might get 1 or 2 deals from it. That's the way I look at it, just from one piece of content. An alternative messaging strategy for connections who are not active on the platform. Okay, this is real simple. This will take 30 seconds. Just send them an email. That's all I did. In 2021, I was sending these messages, offering them this free report, this lead magnet thing, and a good percentage of them didn't reply. I didn't get all, hot and bothered about it. I thought, well, maybe they're busy, maybe they're not that active on LinkedIn. I checked their newsfeed. I see that they only post spasmodically. So I decided, right, I'm not going to just rely on the DMs. I'm going to send them a message. And I got clients from it. So just send them a message. I just reference the fact that we're connected on LinkedIn, and you might be like a lot of people, they're not that active. And, I thought I'd just send this to you now because I think it might be an important message for you. And then I just conclude the message, right? And people started replying, all right. But it's important that they were connected on LinkedIn first. That was the plan. Potent ways to get people to interact with you. All right. Not sure if you can see that, but the text may be a little bit small. I'll have to increase the point size next time. Engage with them on their posts and yours. Engage with them in the DMs. Give them a compliment in the DMs. Share points of common interest in the DMs. Be helpful. Be a connector. Ask them what sort of people are they looking for. I might be able to help. I've got a network of 5,000. Maybe I've got a few people in my network. Just to get the ball rolling a little bit. We don't have to pitch them straight away, please. That's not always smart. And in fact, it's usually not smart at all. All of the sales that I've made recently have come from existing connections, people who had been connected with me for at least 3 months, and some of them 3 years. 3 years, yeah. All right, now the last main segment here is how to create daily and weekly cash from your entry-level offer. All right. Now, I'm very clear on a few things, and here is one of them. It's if you target pain, you're going to have a bigger audience. And if you've got a bigger audience, why not develop a gateway offer, a paid offer, a small offer, something that doesn't cost an arm and a leg, and it gets people to get to know you a bit better, right? They see how you work, they start to build some trust, etc. It's an easy decision for them to make. Price point, well, it'll depend on your industry, your business. It could be anything from $50 for an entry to a 4-day challenge, if that's the method that you use. So $50 per person. If you had 6 people sign up, that's $300 that you pick up. as a bit of cash flow on the way through. Because if a lot of people are targeting the big deals, but sometimes they're few and far between, and it starts playing havoc with your brain when you're waiting for that next big deal, you know, the next $10,000, $20,000, $50,000 and more deal. It plays havoc with your brain. It really does. So I like the idea of having an entry level offer, and then we can sort and sift from there. Much easier to sell, and it's a great way for you to see what they're like, see if they are going to be a good fit type client for you. But it's a great way for them to see to see your competence. Great way for you to demonstrate competence. Great way for them to build trust, for them to increase their trust in you. All right. And then when you talk to them about something bigger, if you feel it's appropriate, okay, that's great. You can talk to them about that. They're going to be far more receptive because the trust has been established, competence has been established, authority has been established. To me, smart. Okay, so it's that bottom group, step one. 70%, well, certainly I think of my audience is in pain. So let's and they're responsive, right? So let's see if we can do something there. And then from there, the higher level offers, okay, step two, but that's like only 20% of the market perhaps. Step one, that's where you're getting into the bigger stuff, really getting into the bigger stuff. It might be 4%, 5%, something like that. And then if you're really big high ticket offers, it might only be 1%, right? Long time between drinks, if I can say that. And then step five, well, if you've got a good cash flow profile where you've got small things happening all the time, that will even out your lumpy cash flow if you're just shooting for the big deals all the time. All right, that's the thinking. How to create weekly cash flow from your entry-level offer. Develop a gateway offer, as I said, low-cost offer that solves one problem only. Why do it? It's a pathway to your signature offer. It lets you do good discovery and build trust. Speak to pain. When promoting it, talk about the pain associated with the problem. Solve the superficial problem. Other bigger problems, underlying problems that need to be addressed can be fixed or sorted out with your next offer, right? Your bigger offer. Okay. 5 types of gateway offers. It could be anything. It could be audits. Audits are very popular amongst service-based businesses. It could be an interview with documentation. A small package, you charge $300 for it. Okay, so you do an interview, and then you document the interview with some recommendations. It's kind of an audit, but perhaps not as thorough. An audit itself might be just like a desktop audit. I know people. I've helped people, in fact, with putting desktop audits together, pricing it, etc. It could be 500, it could be 1,000, it could be 1,500, depending on how much work is required. But it's not as expensive as their full audit, which might be $5,000. You see what I'm saying? Types of gateway offers, so that's one-to-one. One-to-many gateway offers could be a workshop, a course, a low-cost course, or a challenge. Some kind of like a 4-day challenge or something like that. Pricing your gateway offer, well, something small like they participate in a 5-day challenge. It could be $50, but it's group, right? So you'll be making more than $50 overall. And it could be a lot more, but it's still a lot less than your full offer. Okay, that's the thinking there. Now, lead magnet. You need a lead magnet. Develop a lead magnet in the form of a free report or video. Promote your lead magnet via social media, direct messaging, networking, live events perhaps, and ads if you want to spend the money on ads. But you really don't need to do that. You can do it. I've got 80 people, I think it's almost 90 people registered for this show. I did very little promotion for it. Yeah, right, no advertising, nothing. It was just on LinkedIn, that was it. I didn't even put a post on Facebook. I sent an email to a few people, to a little list that I had. I sent that, but that's only small. And then you promote your gateway offer to those who requested your lead magnet. You can do it as a funnel where it's completely automated, or you can do it in a way where you talk to them in the DMs. So a scenario here might be, let's say your step one offer, your gateway offer sells for $200. With our help, hopefully we can help you with that. You package it so people will be keen to buy it. Then ramp up the lead gen side, no money spent on ads. 4 leads a day, inbound and outbound leads, 5 days a week, that's 20 leads. See? It's a process, not a problem. Okay, we turn it into a process. If you convert 4, that's $800 a week. Okay, it's not big money, but it's still okay. All right, and it evens out your cash flow. It's a great cure for the problem, which we might call the lumpy cash flow problem. Want to double it? Easy. Double the lead generation inputs, or increase your price, or boost the conversion rate. Lots of things you can do there. And no sales calls necessary, unless you absolutely love doing calls with people. You can do it in the DMs. All right, you can do it in the DMs, because we're not asking for them to spend $10,000 or something like that. All this can be done by working with existing LinkedIn or Facebook connections. The objective is to focus on daily cash generation. Even if you don't make daily sales, in the early period, making a few step one sales or, gateway sales weekly is still good. 2 or 3, $200 a shot, $100 a shot, it's still good. It's a start, and you can build from there. So here's a few more ideas on gateway offers. A small video course at $100, a proven framework or blueprint at $150, a micro desktop order, $200. That'd be really micro. A virtual workshop, a 2-hour session at X amount. Enroll 5, and it's $750. $150. You enroll 5, you've made $750. Not a fortune, but it still pays the bill. A small support package at $150 a year. Maybe you're in a technical type of business. You can offer them a small, like a hotline support service, $150 a year or something like that. Okay, and it gets people used to dealing with you, sending you money, and they get to start to think highly of you, providing you deliver a good result. The 5-day challenge. This is one to many. All right, $60 per person. You enroll 7, it's $420. Other offer ideas, assessments, facilitations, evaluation. For instance, you can't go in and do a full done-for-you service with a company. At this point, it's too expensive. So, but maybe you can facilitate a process. If they've got the people in their employ and they've got the potential to make this process happen, and they've bought into this new strategy, maybe you could be the facilitator. You might educate them about the strategy first, and then you offer some kind of a lower cost option, facilitation, evaluations. It's all good. Yeah. And then step 2, okay, well, that's where people pay you more money. It could be a group mastermind at $1,500 per person. Now we're talking bigger money. But we started with the gateway offer. A full desktop audit at $2,000. An advanced course with enhanced support at $2,000 per person. A 1-day in-house workshop with including follow-up support and so on for $3,500, $4,000 it could be. If you package it with follow-up support after 90 days, you have another get-together with them, things like that. You got the picture? Started with your lead magnet low-cost gateway offer, which was step 1, and then new revenue opportunities from there. All right, and here's an example of a lead magnet offer. This is a landing page. Here's another one. This one is completely relevant for one of my paid offers, my gateway offers, and it's very simple. They just put their email in there, and they get a free report. They get my free direct messaging templates, etc., and highly relevant. That's it. Sales page. This is an example of one of my sales pages. It goes to an offer. It's a low-cost offer. It's only $120, right? It's cheap, and it's highly valuable, a packet full of value. All right, there it is there, coming to the end. No sales call method. Don't want to do sales calls, no problem. Well, we've already spoken about this. Do it in the DMs. That's it. Now, working with me, if you're at that point. If you're not at that point, there's no problem at all. No dramas, no dramas at all. But timing is a factor. I understand that. So we can help you in different ways. Some ways are more expensive. For instance, coaching, teaching you how to prove your content, generate leads and revenue from $3,200. Advisory, giving you the specific steps required to grow your business. That could be cheaper. It might be just $1,000, something like that. Done for you services from $495, and there's lots of different examples there. Profile makeovers on LinkedIn, got to get that sorted out. Maybe helping you with a funnel, maybe helping you with lead gen posts, maybe helping you with a lead magnet, gateway offer elements, and so on. I've paid for help many times over the years, and it's an accelerator, because trying to do it ourselves when we don't really know what we're doing it's fruitless and counterproductive. Finally, done with you. Let's do it together. Learn and grow. 2 to 4 months. That one needs more investment because it's like a partnership. So 6,200 to 10,000, depending on how much we do and how much you require. Then do it yourself. Mini and main courses and trainings. So in other words, we teach you through videos. We give you the videos, and then we might have a hotline service. All right. So doing it like that, we give you templates, and then you create versions for your own business. So that's about it, folks.